are you today? Hey, why don't you just get a cup of tea and join me? I often think about Great Britain. That's where my mom was born, in England, and how they have tea in the afternoon. I think that is just such a great idea. But Americans, we just go like this all day long, don't we? Just busy, busy, busy. So I hope you can stop everything and be with us for the next few minutes. Take a little break for yourself. It's going to be very, very good. And I do want to welcome you, those who were with us for a long time and those who are brand new. Maybe you've never seen this program before, but I'm so glad that you stumbled onto us and that this will not be the last time that you'll join us. I have a regular guest today. She's on once a month and has been for way more than a year. Her name is Deborah Ray. I'm always hearing how much the viewers love her. And she's here today, but I'm going to take a little bit of time with her to reintroduce her and the unbelievable credentials she has to talk about the things she talks about. And so I just want to take that opportunity for you to really know her if you haven't met her before. And then we've got other subjects we're going to talk about. And I'm going to join Sister Stephanie over there. We're making, oh boy, I can hardly wait to taste it. It's enchiladas made out of turkey and a wonderful combination of sauces we're putting on it. So we'll show you that in just a minute, but I want to offer you again the Fruit of the Spirit product. This is a product that Deborah Ray endorses, and it's very, very hard to get her endorsement on anything, but this is a product that has the highest amount of antioxidants of any product, any kind of fruit puree on the market. It all comes from the land of the Bible, and we offer it to you for that one bottle, $29, and the other one, $49 for two. And the amazing thing about it is that it takes so little to give you the amount of fruits and vegetables you need for a day. So if you call 1-800-398-4643, that's the number for the Fruit of the Spirit, and they will take care of that and get it out to you. And if we get time, I'll talk to Deborah a little bit more about that product, because I had some last night right before I went to bed. Boy, did I sleep good. It's a product we've offered for quite a while and get some really good testimonials on it. So I hope that you'll take advantage of that. And I've joined Stephanie over here, and we'll talk in a minute, but we need to get this stuff
yes, ma'am.
in
we have
the turkey.
A pound of turkey that I fried up here, and then we have a small onion, and we have one zucchini that's grated.
Okay, so while you're mixing that, we are still trying to redeem ourselves from the bad egg salad just a few days ago.
If the crew won't eat it, we're in trouble, and nobody
I'm not even sure Lucio ate it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone ate that. So,
but I really think this is going to give us our road back home.
Yes. If you want to spray the pan.
Okay.
Since you're so good at that. And this is enchilada suiza. Suiza.
What does that mean?
Suiza is Spanish for Switzerland, which is where this white sauce that.
Oh, is it? Okay. And this goes in the blender.
Yep, you have a blender. You have a 16-ounce jar of salsa, and you have 3/4 cups of half and half. And if you like hot, you could get hot salsa if you like a little kick to your food, but we get mild, because you like mild, don't you?
Well, it called for medium, so that's what I got. But if medium? I did this at home, I'd get mild.
I get hot, hot, hot.
Do you really?
Oh, I love spicy.
Okay, and then we just mix this up.
A little bit. Oops. Oh, lid's not on. That's good.
That good?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. And then you're going to take 2/3 of that sauce, and you're just going to pour it around the bottom of the pan.
2/3 of this stuff?
Here's a measuring cup for you.
2/3 of a cup. All right.
And this should cook a little bit longer, but we're speeding it along for TV's sake. And then I'm going to take 3/4 cup of the sauce and put it in with what I'm cooking.
Just spread this around a little to the bottom.
I want you to get it.
Thank you very much.
I tasted this while we were making it earlier, and
I think this is something I would fix for company.
Yeah.
After I taste it all together, but that cream sauce really.
Yeah, I'd probably make extra of the sauce. I'd probably make extra of the sauce because I like mine bubbly and Yeah, and then I have
Oh,
oregano, I have salt, pepper, and cumin that I'm gonna put in here. That we're just mixing in. And I'm also gonna put a 1/4 cup of cheese in here.
Let me get this out of the way. I'm gonna drag one out of the oven. And sure smells heavenly.
It smells really good. I think this one's gonna be, and with the turkey, it's not bad for you.
Do you think they'll forget about the egg salad? Oh, look at that.
Stop talking about it. I bet they'll forget about
Maybe
the
I
egg
should
salad.
shut up, huh?
So then, okay, so let me finish
Yes.
this, but before you do that, you just take corn tortillas and just throw them in a hot non-stick pan. This, like I said, this should probably cook about 10 minutes, but we'll just speed it along for TV's sake.
Now, could you put this cilantro on before you put it in there?
Sure. So about 20 seconds on each side with the
Okay, I want to see
tortilla.
you do some of these.
I just need the 1/4 cup here. And then you just take the tortilla, take about a 1/4 cup of the filling. If you get the big tortillas, you could easily like burrito them up, but since we have the little ones, we're just gonna...
Should you have the bigger ones maybe?
The bigger ones would probably be better to seal up, but the little ones are good.
It's supposed to be corn.
Yep. And
I wonder how the flour would work.
flour would, I'm sure it'll be good. I like the
Ooh,
corn
I just
tortillas
tasted some
better.
of that filling.
It's good, isn't it? So you just roll them up, and then once this is full, we're gonna put the rest of the sauce over it and the rest of the cheese and bake it. It's really super simple, actually. A lot of steps, but everything's easy.
No, it's very, very easy. And it's $3.75 for about how many minutes? About 25 minutes.
And then you just put cilantro on the top when you're done.
And it's very hot.
But that's never stopped us before.
No, I just want to. And I
really
think
good.
that recipe said that this was about like
$1.91 per
serving.
Yep. So frugal
see-
also. And that's not they don't include coupons in those estimates. So if you got the salsa on sale, if you got the half and half, the cheese, you can get cheese for free sometimes with coupons.
Okay,
and
I didn't
sales.
get that out in a very good,
Okay, that's all right.
visually beautiful form, but
Did we redeem ourselves?
yeah. This redeems us from any bad thing we've done cooking.
That's good. That is really, really
That
good.
is, I'd say it's kind of superior. And you do better if you get one out of the middle, because we've kind
You
of
did all right.
messed this up, but didn't mess up the taste. What do you think?
That's really good.
So if you want this, I call them turkey enchiladas or
Enchilada Suiza.
Suiza, which means I didn't know
Switzerland.
they had Mexican food in Switzerland.
Well, it's just the white sauce that. That's good.
That's one you can fix ahead of time,
Okay, you
friends.
need to stop eating and get to work.
Yeah, I need to go talk to Deborah. But the information is coming up on your screen. If you want this, it's excellent. And now I'm going to sit down and talk to Deborah, and you always enjoy that, so stay with me.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, please send your request along with a gift of $5 or more to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758.
As I said at the top of the show, and I told Deborah Ray I'm going to do this, I wanted to reintroduce her to new viewers in the last few months, just talk about her history a little bit. She's been radio and TV, Healthy Talk Radio, Healthy Talk Television since 1982, a member of the Society of Medical Technologists, the American Society of Clinical Pathologists, and the Florida Society of Clinical Pathologists. She's awarded the National Merit Scholar and of the Bosch and Loam Physics Award. She has a BS in Medical Technology from the University of Kentucky, MS from in Immunology from the University of Louisville. And she had a background with her late husband. She's married to a very wonderful man now, but late husband who really was a pioneer a lot in the health and fitness. So now we're out of time. And now, what an interesting life she's had, because she is the manager of WTIS, which is a good radio station in this area. And they carry Dave Ramsey and people like Mike Huckabee. And so for those in the Tampa Bay area, that's 1110 on your AM dial. And I love listening to Dave Ramsey on my way home.
What a ministry.
But now I would like for you to tell the story, too, of your late husband did he begin to study to be a doctor when he was in his 40s?
He did not go to medical school until his mid-30s. He was a research chemist for Arco Sinclair. I still have the patents for Dippity Jew and Johnson's Glow Coat. But at the time was told, gee, you know, you're not a minority, you're not ever going to make any money, because, for example, Gillette gave him $17 per patent per year. And of course, you know, Dippity Jew, Johnson's Glow Coat, they made a lot of money from that. So he had a roommate at the time and decided to go to medical school. In fact, he was admitted because the then dean at the University of Louisville School of Medicine said, you're the first applicant who's actually told us the truth that you were going to medical school to make some money.
And what a doctor he was. He used to be on a show here with some regularity.
He had a mind that he saw chemical reactions where the rest of us would struggle. In fact, I lost a couple of kitchen counters with chemistry experiments because he continued to have that interest. So he loved the science of vitamins and minerals and lifestyle because he could see those chemical reactions in his mind.
And that was when that was very rarely spoken of, or anybody had any idea that that could have an effect on a person.
Right, right.
Now, was it when he met you, you weren't in great shape, right?
I was, but over the years realized, even though I had a background in chemistry and worked in a hospital laboratory, I did not know what a good diet was. And because I was using birth control pills at the time, because my physician said you have irregular menstrual cycles, then they started to give me antibiotics, and I was taking tetracycline for 2 years because of the skin problems due to the side effects of the birth control pills. Well, then I started to have digestive problems. So I was diagnosed at age 23 with Crohn's colitis.
Which is very serious.
Serious, debilitating, and one day in the hospital lab when I was on duty, it got so bad I had a diverticuli, a little pouch in my intestine rupture, and I was rushed to the ER in front of all my colleagues. I was mortified at age 23.
23, my
and
word.
prepped for an emergency colostomy, which is pretty serious at any age. At 23, I really didn't know what was going on until that point because I had all these different diagnoses. And luckily they let it wall off. But I really didn't know the science of asking questions and really being a partner in my own health care. Because if you take antibiotics, you need to supplement because it's going to wipe out the good as well as the bad bacteria and leave me open, as I was susceptible to colitis, to Crohn's colitis.
This is all the reason I wanted to reintroduce you to the audience, because we hear so much about antibiotics could have killed you. And I read an article not too long ago how they give them to children so easily, so quickly.
97% of children, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, are treated by an antibiotic for an ear infection before the age of 5. 97%, and it hasn't changed in 30, 40 years.
I might have mentioned this before, but my husband talked about when he was really young. He had a friend whose dad was a doctor, and I don't know what he prescribed his patients, but for his family, if they got sick, he'd roll them up in a blanket so they'd sweat real good, and give him a lot of liquids. And if that didn't work, then he would proceed to other measures. Now, when it comes to just the mom out there, and there's, you know, an indication that there might be a little infection or something going on, what do you think's the best thing?
Best thing is tincture of time. Unless the fever is extreme, you know, solid science now tells us that the vast majority of ear infections get better on their own. And in fact, there's a very interesting study from Georgetown University that was published in a major medical journal, New England Journal of Medicine, that garlic oil, you can make it your own, you can buy it in a health food store, actually is more effective than the 14 most commonly prescribed antibiotics for ear infections. So you do have natural means. Certainly,
garlic oil, do they just take it?
They use it topically in the ear. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So we go back to, you know, to what God created, the food pharmacy. There's so much science to back that up. And in countries that don't have the amount of money that drug companies do in this country, they use things like garlic as natural antibiotics. There's physicians today that use things like silver, because silver will prevent certain bacteria from growing, and it doesn't encourage...
How do you use silver?
They can use it topically. There are also tinctures that you can use. You can't use it for a long period of time, but there's safe tinctures that you can actually use internally for most common minor infections.
Do you think it's true that in medicine there are fads, and then somebody starts asking questions? The reason I ask this is I remember, and it's certainly been since my children were grown and all, it seemed like there was a rash of my friends said they had to put tubes in the child's ear, and that just almost turned my stomach. And it seemed like there were so many of them that it was unusual.
And what always amazed me in doing that radio program was, you know, interviewing physicians who would say, you know, even in view of recent developments in science showing that what they have been doing or taught in medical school, they would say, well, that's the way we've always done it. It doesn't necessarily make it the best way, but I often wondered why they didn't go to those least invasive. You mentioned, you know, wrapping up in a warm blanket. You know, my grandmother and great-grandmother used flannel and castor oil.
To try to get them to sweat it out.
Exactly.
Well, I think if I had a message for young mothers today, and I was very fortunate, I was blessed, because the pediatrician, when my kids were really little, taught at the University of Oklahoma, and he wouldn't give a kid a shot unless they were just almost dead. He would. And so our thing is ask questions.
Absolutely.
You know, when they want to do something to your child, ask questions. You don't have to be intimidated because someone has a doctorate. I've so often thought of you that you could have died as a very young woman, very young. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, now we were going to talk about calcium. And how calcium alone is not going to really do for your bones what needs to be done. And you sent me some information about vitamin D and vitamin K, and that they all have to work together to help.
In fact, if we think of bones, there's 26 different nutrients. We only think of calcium, but calcium is one of 26 that are important for bones. But we have calcium in other parts of our body, and we now know that vitamin D, of which 85% of Americans are deficient. We use too much sunscreen, we don't get enough sun exposure. Why it's important not to get too much sun exposure. Some is good for us on a regular basis. And when, you know, our grandmothers grew up, they weaned babies. Of course, they breastfed. That's a whole other story. They weaned babies to cod liver oil. So we didn't see vitamin D deficiency as we do in this country. And vitamin D is the gatekeeper for calcium. It determines whether that calcium goes in the arteries. We don't want calcified arteries, as in hardening of the arteries, but we now know that vitamin K that we find in leafy green vegetables is the traffic cop. So if you don't get enough vitamin K along with your vitamin D, your calcium may be going to your arteries instead of your bone. So it's how the body works together. And
I always thought vitamin K was a clotting.
It is.
So that you don't bleed to death.
Right. And unfortunately, so many people are taking blood thinners these days that they're actually vitamin K deficient, and why the physicians may warn them not to take in leafy green vegetables, they don't realize that there may be an underlying vitamin K deficiency, so they may be blood thinning, but the patient may actually have an acceleration of hardening of the arteries because the calcium is going to the wrong place.
Now, can you buy vitamin K in a bottle?
You can. In fact, there's a lot of supplements these days of vitamin D along with vitamin K, and that's probably the ideal way. Look for a vitamin D supplement, but take vitamin K along with it.
I keep wondering, how do you know? I this vitamin D, I bought it, and I look at it, and I think, how do I know that's what it's supposed to be?
You know your brand. You know your brand. And many of the brands have seals now because many of the companies have independent or pay for government approved. So they test every batch. So whether it's your bottle or my bottle, you know you're getting this. The label is accurate, that what's the label says is in there, that the potency is there, that the dosage is correct. So there's GMP, USP. There are ways to determine that you're taking a good product.
So the vitamin K, though, it's in your green vegetables. That's a natural way to get it. But also you can get it in the supplement, and it comes combined with the D sometimes.
Right.
I'll have to look for that because I've never had K. And, you know, the more you progress in age, your bones are very important.
Yes.
And
yes.
I have a sister with some really serious osteoporosis, although you wouldn't know it to look at her. But the doctor told her she better not ever fall down. And so she's taken every measure because that can sneak up on you.
Absolutely.
You absolutely don't know you have it.
And have a broken bone and think of the debilitation, the disability associated with that.
I also read that chocolate, that is the best news.
Right.
Dark chocolate, I hope they mean.
Absolutely. Great for lowering blood pressure, for modulating your blood pressure.
Does that have vitamin K in it, or what does that have in it?
It has certain minerals and vitamins in it. It's a rich source of minerals, in fact, particularly magnesium. And magnesium drives 200 of the body's most important chemical reactions, particularly for blood flow, because magnesium is a vasodilator. It makes those blood vessels relax. You don't want them to become constricted and put you at a higher risk for a heart attack or a stroke. So chocolate is an excellent source of magnesium, so whether you have breathing problems or circulatory problems, chocolate, particularly the dark chocolate that's rich in these minerals and certainly polyphenols, is excellent as a health food on a regular basis.
Yeah, so I want to go back over this a little bit, because what we're talking about is what's good for the bones, but at the same time, it's good for your arteries.
Absolutely.
So that's vitamin K, vitamin D,
right.
magnesium, and calcium.
Right.
You need all of those.
Right.
That's four things. Right. Now, do you think they scare us too much about being out in the sun?
Yes. Yes.
I grew up, you know, I live in Colorado, but we sure were outside every chance we got. And I think of my wonderful uncle who is in heaven today. He had a farm, and I loved to go to his farm and ride on the tractor with him. I was out in that sun all the time. He was pretty well covered, but I mean his face and everything. And
if you look at the research, and in fact there is a physician who's head of the vitamin D research lab at Boston University, Dr. Michael Hollick, who was also board certified in dermatology and a professor there. They actually drummed him out of the Department of Dermatology because he dared to say that most Americans should get 10 minutes of moderate sun exposure, not 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., but 10 minutes of sun exposure a day, and they thought that that was heresy. But if you combine that with Dr. Young's research, if the membrane is right, your uncle, my uncle, they live different lives. They got good fats, they had cod liver oil, they have different cell membranes. If your cell membrane is right, your body's designed to make enough vitamin D, so they didn't have to supplement in years past because our body's designed to do what it's supposed to do if we give it the right raw ingredients.
Well, what body of people got upset about 10 minutes in the sun?
Dermatologist.
You're kidding me.
No. Interesting, because emerging research from the Vitamin D Research Council actually finds that melanoma patients may be vitamin D deficient. So there's probably a bell-shaped curve where too little is as bad as too much, but we need some. But of course, we're such a nation of extremes, we demonize it when not all fat is bad. That was contributory to my health ills because I avoided all fats thinking it was evil. It's the right amount of the good fat. It's the right amount of the of sun exposure. There's so many things that we demonize when we do need some in moderation each day.
Every once in a while, just a lay person like myself, who's certainly never been to medical school, it's just like this question mark comes up. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I'm not the least bit concerned about going to the swimming pool where I live and using it and being out in the sun. Just.
But you talked about progression. The research in nutritional medicine, clinical nutrition, doubles every year. The research in medicine doubles every 5 years. It's such a fast developing field. But you're right. We go back to what our mothers taught us, and there's just science to back up what we used to consider old wives' adages. The science backs it up.
Yeah, we have just a couple minutes. I'd like for you to address Crohn's. It's very, very serious.
Right.
And what can you do? I know there's a lot of medical things, sometimes surgery, that take out big portions of the intestine.
Right,
but basically, to anybody who might have it, what do you suggest?
There is hope. We hold our emotions. There's a second nervous system in our gut, so don't overlook the peace within your life. And prayer is a wonderful way to.
Amen.
To garner that on a regular basis. Your diet does make a difference. You may be sensitive to good foods. I was, that I ate on a regular basis, and you can be sensitive to even things like saccharin. That was a problem for me because I drank diet sodas at the time, and it actually caused the lining of my gut to slough. There are so many things that we can do to be an active partner in that. So even with something considered to be an autoimmune, you can heal. You can heal. The Lord is just amazing on how He has made us.
Yes, and there's no doubt in my mind that the Lord used that to bring you on the path you're on, and now I'm pleased to have you once a month, and you've had a great career in television and radio, and God uses those things as a springboard to help other people, and that's what we want to do here, that's for sure. We are out of time, though, so join me next time, friends. There's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you would like a video copy of today's Homekeepers program for just $19.95, call 1-800-229-0059 for credit card orders, or send a gift of at least $19.95 to Homekeepers, P.O. Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. Be sure to note the program number which appears on your screen.
Parsley, impacting the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ.
God really does have more in store for you than you ever dreamed possible, and I want to invite you to join the millions around the world who tune in to Breakthrough here on CTN Satellite weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern for prophetic preaching to turn your life right side up.
Breakthrough with Rod Parsley, weekday mornings at 9 on CTN.
Hello, friends. This is David Langford, host of the Voice of Evangelism International Ministries. We'd like to invite you to tune in each Saturday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We look to bring to you each week an uncompromising message from the Word of Almighty God. So tune in each Saturday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We look to see you then. God bless, and we promise we'll bring to you an uncompromising message from God's Word.
Bible is the best way to read, listen to, and share the Bible on your iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, or Android device. I'm Brian, and let me tell you about this great app. With Bible is, you can read the Bible anytime and anywhere. Even combine your reading and listening in hundreds of languages and versions. Simply share the Bible on Facebook, Twitter, SMS, and email. Experience the Bible like never before. Look for Bible is in the App Store or Android Market today. Bible is. Read, listen, share.
God's love, elevating, energizing, empowering.